You know this, everything that takes place on the earth is a reflection of things in heaven. And so if something that's negative is taking place in your life, there's a negative effect into heaven. And so we got to infuse the power of heaven to tear down the negativity in my life, that the positive things that God has purposed for me will materialize in my life. Look at your neighbor and say, we got to do that. Say, we're obligated. The Bible says, and an angel went down at a certain season to the pool and troubled the water. And whosoever the first after the troubling of the water stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. Now this is so powerful. But one of the things in this text you got to realize is you have a multitude of impotent folks. You know, nobody is taking charge. No one is saying, well, let me just help you. It's a selfish state, but they don't even have the ability to help each other. But the Bible said an angel would go down at a certain time, and he would stir the waters. What he would do, he would impart heaven into that water. And who first stepped in, no matter what they were dealing with, they were made whole at that moment. Not weeks to come, but at that moment, they were made whole. It said a certain man was there, which had an infirmity 38 years. When Jesus saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he says unto him, will thou be made whole? Will thou be made whole? You may be seated in the presence of the Lord. Will thou be made whole? Is it a desire within you to be made whole? Jesus asked the question that rings through dispensations, will thou be made whole? Look at your neighbor and say, will thou be made whole? Verse 7 says, and the impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool. But while I am coming, another steps before me. Jesus said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked. And it was on the Sabbath day. Will thou be made whole? Jesus Christ came to restore, to make us whole. In this text is a very interesting text because here we have a multitude of impotent people. In the pool of Bethesda, there were 5 porches. Unlike a natural pool that you look at, you had to step down into where the pool was. There was a split where you had 2 pools. It's amazing how Jesus would gradually walk down where the pool was to walk past all these impotent people to approach this man who had this infirmity for 38 years. For 476 months, he had this infirmity. For 1,976 weeks, he had this infirmity. For 18,330 days, he had this infirmity. For 332,800 hours, he had this infirmity. But Jesus asked him a question. Will thou be made whole? If you give me the time, I can unlock this for you, because now we know just by reasoning of the natural use